So this is the first round of Axis and Allies 1914 that I am going to go over. And I'm starting with the first faction, the Austria-Hungarian faction, and then I'm going to go in turn order to Russia, to Germany, until all other factions do their turn, and that will be the first round. But since the Austrians go first, I will start with them, and I'm going to go over an overview of their faction. As you can see, there are numbers on the board. If you total up all of these numbers and add them all together, you will see that the Austria-Hungarian faction has 26 IPCs. Austria is not a bad faction. It's actually a pretty strong faction. It has some of the most troops on the board at the beginning of the game. Even though 26 IPCs is not the highest, it is one of the highest in the game and one of the strongest economies in the game. If you look around the board, in each province, there is 6 infantry and 2 artillery. 6 infantry, 2 artillery, 6 infantry, 2 artillery, and 6 infantry, 2 artillery. Let me go ahead and correct this. 6 infantry and 2 artillery. But then you look at their more central provinces. Vienna, the capital, has 6 IPCs. That's more than, well, any of these other provinces. And then another province that is also critical to Austria-Hungary is Budapest. But Budapest is protected. It's protected in the south by neutral countries, Serbia, Romania, and to the north, it's protected by other provinces. So Budapest, despite being one of the most critical provinces, is safe. Austria has a 12-man army in the capital. It also has a 12-man army here in Budapest. The 2 biggest armies are located in the 2 biggest provinces. And their capital is located in the very center of the board, making their capital pretty damn well protected. They are also bordering the German Empire, so if the German Empire needs reinforcements, they could send them, and if the Austria-Hungarian Empire needs reinforcements, Germany can send them troops. They are right next to each other. Unlike Germany, who has Russia and France to deal with on both sides, Austria only has Russia to deal with, and Russia has 25 IPCs, which is not far off, but nevertheless no bigger than Austria's 26 IPCs. They have a nice navy. It's small, but their navy doesn't really need to be significant. It's big enough to protect the Adriatic Sea. Austria must now begin its turn with a purchase. I have already purchased the units. I will go over what I purchased at the end of this video. But I'm going to put the units they purchased on the mobilization zone. The mobilization zone tells you what each unit cost. Take a good long look. Anyways, Austria has done its purchase. I'm moving on with the game. Serbia is to its south. By game rule, it is a rule in this game that Austria must attack Serbia. I don't care how many units you attack Serbia with, but you must attack Serbia because that is the historical perspective of the game. That is how World War I began. That is how Russia got involved, and then that's how France got involved, and Germany, and the domino effect. All the alliances started brawling. Serbia has a 2 IPC value. Since it is a neutral country, it gets to muster troops. It is an allied neutral country, so obviously it is going to fight for the Allies. And since it has a Russian symbol beside it, they are going to be taken over by the Russian player. 2 is the IPC value. 2 times 2 is 4, so Serbia gets 4 units. One of those units must be an artillery piece for offensive purposes. Nevertheless, if you invade Serbia with this entire stack from Budapest, more than likely, almost 100%, the Serbians are not going to survive the onslaught. It's more a matter of how many units can Serbia take with them. I've rolled for the Serbians. 4 units, 4 dice. I rolled all 4 dice. You must hit, if you are defending, you must hit with a 3 or below. They only got 2. Serbia gets 2 hits. So Austria must remove those casualties from the board as well. Austria has now subdued Serbia. I have already removed the casualties. Austria also, Italy is an allied nation, but Italy cannot come into the war until 1915, which is the second go-round. I don't want to wait for the Italians to mobilize against me. I want to attack them now while they're weak. So, there's a transport right here. Go ahead. There we go. I will use this transport to transport this infantryman and this artillery piece across the Adriatic and into Tuscany and try and subdue the province of Tuscany. Obviously, since it is an amphibious assault, the battleship gets to do offshore bombardment. Offshore bombardment hits at a 4. I've already rolled a 4 exactly. So that's 1 hit. The Italians only got 1 unit. So now the Italians have to roll for defense. They rolled a 4. They have to roll a 3. They did not get a 3. They got above a 3. They got a 4. So that means that the Italians get no hits and the Austrians subdue Tuscany. Get in there. The Austrians also move in a joint offensive from Trieste to Venice and from Tyrolia to Venice. The Austrians swarm into Venice. Despite being in a defensive position and having a defensive advantage, the Austrians have the advantage in numbers over the Italians. I'll do the math on that later. The Austrians also want to attack Poland. Despite being a Russian territory, Poland will become the battleground between Germany and the Russians. And since we border Poland, we might as well start the fight right now. The Russians got the same size army that we do. So the odds of the battle shouldn't be too hard to fight. Now I'm going to take this battle and I'm going to put it on the board. And I'm going to teach you how combat works entirely. Attacking infantry, attacking artillery, okay, so as you can see, this is the battle board. This is the attacking side. Attacking artillery hit on a 3. The Austrian artillery takes that position. Attacking infantry Looks pretty damn epic, right? I love this board. 6 attacking infantry. Hit on a 2. So, when the Austrians roll, I'm going to take 6 dice and I'm going to roll as many 2s as I can possibly roll. If I don't get a 2 or below, it does not count as a hit. Then I move on to the artillery. The artillery hit on a 3. So I'm going to roll 2 dice representing 2 artillery and hope I get a 3 or below on the dice. But artillery can support infantry. Infantry with artillery support hit on a 3. That does not mean I'm just going to take these 6 infantry and move them over. I'm going to take 2 of these infantry and I'm going to move them over. So, 2 infantry that hit on a 3. It's a pretty basic setup for this game. Over here, defending infantry. See the machine gun? The Russian infantry, 6 of them, will hit on a 3. Defending artillery, like all artillery, they hit on a 3 also. So you have 2 artillery units plus 6 infantry units all hitting on a 3. 2 plus 6. That's 8 dice that the Russians will be rolling to see if they can hit on as many 3s as possible. I have already done this battle before the video. I already rolled the dice. The Russians got 2 hits, the Austrians got 1. Both sides rolled like shit. But that is what happened. Just for educational purposes. 4 Austrian infantry attack. None of them hit. 2 Austrian infantry supported with artillery and 2 attacking artillery. That's 2 plus 2 is 4. So I'm rolling 4 dice to see how many 3s I can get. I got 2 hits. So that's the Austrians. They did their attack. Now, just for the Russian sake, let's go on ahead and just roll the dice for them too. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. That's 5 hits. That is essentially almost all attacking infantry that the Austrians have. That is basically a 5-to-1 ratio. But yeah, after the first round of combat, you are not able to roll anymore. You have to leave them back in their territory. So I'm going to place these units back in their territory. Austria Hungary, as always, fared very poorly in the war. So we'll be able to attack again on the next round. We have to go on to the non-combat phase now. In order to protect our rear guard, we're going to move our soldiers from Vienna up to Galicia. And we're going to protect Galicia against Russian aggression from Ukraine. We are also going to take our soldiers from Bohemia. And we are going to move them into Galicia also. Because clearly, after losing 5 fucking soldiers, we need to move more soldiers up to the front. I will worry about this battle off the camera. I just showed you guys how combat works. It's time for Austria to place its troops now because the non-combat phase is now over. Austria purchased 6 soldiers and 2 artillery pieces. Infantry cost 3. What is 3 times 6? That is 18. They purchased 2 artillery pieces. What is 2 times 4? Because artillery pieces cost 4. What is 2 times 4? That's 8. So add it all up. 8 plus 18. That is 26. The Austrians spent all 26 of their IPCs. We cannot move these soldiers until the next round, when it is our turn. Moving on to Russia.